Can be hard when you grow up. People fill you with doubt. You start thinking about what you're gonna do now. And it's do or die, gotta make it count. So lose your worries, let your problems go on until my whole body burns out. I ain't never gonna slow down. I ain't never gonna slow down.
Welcome everyone, this is Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about resilience. Now there are so many books about resilience in the titles, literally just one word, resilience. This is going to be our focus today, but yet it's going to be mixed with triumph because resilience is talking about how do we overcome the hardships? How do we overcome the struggles? How do we get through what we're going through? Many people might think resilience is just making it out, all right? Well, guess what? I'm going to say that resilience is not so much about just making it out. It's learning how to make any situation that you're in that's not favorable. That means if you are going through some negativity, some hardship, whether it be maybe money problems, debt problems, relationship problems, whatever type of problems, we learn how to be resilient through that instead of just succumbing to it and saying, well, this is my life. It's one of the worst things that you can tell yourself. This is my life. Yes, you do have a life and this is or that is your life, but it doesn't have to be your future. Life is going to be the whole aspect, the entirety of who you are, what you have done, who you became. Many people, they stop at the onset of the hardships in their life and in the world. We have a choice today. We can say that I know right now situations might be unfavorable. I understand right now things might be difficult and challenging for me or my family. But yet, I'm not going to let that be my history. I'm not going to struggle until my body's in the grave. I'm going to make changes today. I'm going to be resilient through the pain. I'm going to be resilient through the struggle. I'm going to be resilient through all the fear, all the doubts, all the uncertainties, because I understand that on the other end, something better, something that's going to help elevate my situation and help give me the life that I'm looking for. And most people, they want this good life. Most people, they want the aspect for potential, for growth, for happiness. But not everyone is willing and not everyone is going to be able initially to take it. Today is going to be that beacon of hope for you. Today is going to be a story of an example of a man who decided that his life was going to be of his own proponents, not the world's. He is going to steer his ship. He's going to steer his life into the direction he wants. So today we're going to be learning about his story and how he helps people have a resilient mindset. Welcome, Kelly Killingsworth, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here.
No problem. Today I have you on as a veteran, small business owner, and resilience master. And the last aspect is what we're really going to be talking about because resilience is one of those traits, values, whatever you want to consider it, that are going to help you understand exactly what you want in life. Because some people, when they go through the struggles, those struggles are going to move them in a certain way, maybe toward negativity, maybe toward self-destruction, almost never toward growth. But there's going to be a few individuals that say, I don't care what happened in my life. I'm going to be bigger than that. I'm going to overcome all of these obstacles and all of these challenges. And you have a story of success and how you were able to overcome that. In your own words, can you tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help?
My name is Kelly Killingsworth. I'm a United States veteran. I came from a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Family was a very troubled household when I was growing up. And after the military, I struggled with alcohol abuse, substance abuse, depression. And it was about just over 2 years ago, I became clean and sober. And from that point till now and ongoing, it's just my life has been exponentially better.
There is a trend, and this is not to say that people in the military all follow this trend. But it seems like there's like a party phase or a phase where they use an escape, whether it be alcohol, drugs, some type of outlet to get out of their mind and into a different space. Can we talk about why that is a trend or why that happens so frequently with our veterans?
Of course we can, yeah. In the military, alcohol was always part of the situation whenever we weren't in uniform. But what I could say is after deployment and coming home and getting out of the military, that transition right there is very, very hard. In the military, we have a structure of a set of goals, how to get the mission done. And when we come into the civilian world, it's not like that. There are tons of avenues of approach that we can take, and that leaves room for a lot of failure. Alcohol and substance kind of hides a lot of feelings and thoughts. And once you're out of the military, you don't have what I've found is the brotherhood, the unity really can't be found in the civilian world. And it takes a long time to try to realize that you just have to build it a different way.
And that transition out of the military, many people struggle with that. I have clients who were in the military and they go to the VA for services, mental health, and it's almost like they are always in line, they say. It's always like, okay, well, I go here, they don't help me, and there's not much support. When you're in the military, you get a lot more support, and when you are in the civilian world, it's a lot less support. And at that moment, you feel alone. And what people tend to do is, if I feel alone, how can I not feel that? And people like to drown themselves and they like to forget. And you said something great, brotherhood. That's gone, right? Yes, you can keep in touch with some people, but how does that fare typically? People have their own lives, people have their own ambitions and their own passions. And it's only a matter of time before the phone stops ringing or you stop getting those texts that you would receive so frequently. The transition can be difficult, but the mindset it can create, if you can get through it, is one of resilience. What was your mindset like after you decided to change your situation, sobriety, of course, getting your life back together, maybe focusing on family? What was that mindset like, and how has that mindset helped you start a business?
I have three values that I live by. One is integrity, and that's doing the right things for the right reasons with honesty. The second is resilience. And I like to think of resilience as being like a clock in a windstorm, steady ticking, always forward. My father, he explained that to me when I was going through this transition, and it really stuck with me because, like a lot of chaos going on around me, but I had to remember to just stay steady ticking and continue moving forward. And then my third value is strength. And I look at that as the buffalo versus the cow. When a storm's coming over the horizon, a buffalo runs towards the storm and essentially gets through the storm to the other side. And the cow kind of hides from the storm, ends up running from the storm. The storm catches up to the cow, and pretty much the cow stays in the storm. So I like to think I'm the buffalo. That's where the picture comes in behind me here. And so I stuck to those values, and those values have got me to where I'm at today.
And where are you at today?
Today, I own a 3 bedroom, 2 bath house. I own a construction company. I have multiple pieces of equipment. I have a wife and 3 kids. My 2 older kids are with me every other week. They're from a prior relationship. And my relationships with my mentors, my bankers, my friends, I don't have a lot of friends, but the friends that I do have, my relationships are just a lot better, a lot more efficient. They're stronger. I've been really working on my communication skills, and I didn't realize it in the past how important communication is, and it's very important. I'm figuring out.
You have a passion for telling people about your history, about what you went through, because your story is one of success. And people love success stories. People love to see someone go through it, come out on the other end. They might be bruised and battered, but they made it. And this is where many people start to see hope. People are not going to see hope from a shining, from a knight in shining armor, and that person never went to battle. They want to see the knight. They want to see the person who struggled. They want to see the person who went through the gauntlet and then came out walking and standing. That is more appealing to the mindset than someone who had a perfect life. This is true for any mental health advocate, any life coach, any mindset coach, any motivational speaker. They cannot be pristine, because pristine is just showing you that you don't understand what I went through. And in a sense, people will never truly understand what you went through, because our traumas are going to be individualized and unique to us. That means what might be traumatic for me might not be traumatic for you, and vice versa. And then the experiences that you had, especially being in the military, those traumas are going to be very different, especially if you're going and speaking with a civilian who has never seen battle, who has never put foot on hostile territory. They don't know the fear. What was your fear before you said, I need to change my life?
As in, what was I hiding from?
It could be that. Yeah.
Well, I'll start here. There was a long time after the military that I wasn't able to look at myself in the mirror. And after the military, I started making the wrong choices, the wrong decisions for the wrong reasons. And I knew it. And at the time I had two kids as well, but I kept making the wrong choices and I just couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I was hiding a lot from my past as I grew up. And for some reason, I chose to go down a similar path. Maybe that's because that's all I knew at the time. But the moment came when I was going to lose my kids, I was going to lose my house. I had no money and I forced myself to look at myself in the mirror. That was just a hard transition. And it wasn't easy to do for quite a while either. But I forced myself to do that, and I forced myself to look at my past and realize that everything that I've done to get me to now is in the past. I can either learn from it or I could dwell on it and never try to fix it and never try to become better for my family, for my kids. And so I had to make at the time, it was a hard decision. Man, I'm glad that I made it though.
And you're right. You can learn or you can dwell on it. And many people, they choose to dwell on it because it's easier to have in action. There is going to be fear regardless. So why not jump toward that fear? Why not say, all right, I'm going to be afraid to pay my bills. I'm going to be afraid to lose my kids, my house, or whatever. Or I can be afraid to change. And most people, they just don't want to change because change feels uncomfortable. Similar to growth, growth feels uncomfortable. And when you started to get that resilient mindset, when you started to walk toward your fears instead of away from them, what was able to happen was you started to fix the things in your life that were maybe falling apart, right? Your family, your living situations. And then you could say, well, where is my focus? Now, your focus is, of course, speaking with people, talking to people about your story, because it is one that is going to be of glory and of triumph. But then you said, I'm going to do something extremely difficult. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to equip myself with mentors, the right people, and then I'm going to grow something that many people are too afraid to grow. Many people are actually afraid to start a business because they understand that the chance for success is so low. And then the necessity for themselves to put in so much work initially to grow and help the business prosper is another issue. When you started your business, what were some of the pitfalls and challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
When I started my business, it was COVID. So before that, I was in the union. I was making fairly decent money, but I was always gone. And I came to a point where I had a double hernia surgery and I was out on disability. And when I went back to go to work after that surgery is when COVID had happened. And then I had bills coming. So I had to do my own thing. So that's what forced me in a way to start my own business.
Mm.
And I had no idea. I'm learning. It's a learning curve that never stops. But I started my business and I was building fences, decks, and it went well for a couple years, but I still wasn't making the right decisions. I would felt like I would get in a comfortable spot, and that's when I would go and I would have a couple drinks, which would lead to a couple more, and I would go down a rabbit hole. And I've been down that rabbit hole a couple times. Now, at the end of 2022, I became licensed in the state of California, and I know now what not to do. And so when I get in a comfortable position, I really look ahead and I try to force myself to get in another uncomfortable position to keep myself moving forward.
We talked a little bit offline about mentorship. Mentorships can be a great thing. They can help give us focus, guidance, knowledge, and wisdom that we might not be keen on, especially in the beginning of starting a business. Because most people, they don't have business acumen. They don't know what to do to start a business. They might know the basics. Well, I got to get an LLC or do a DBA. I have to make a Facebook page. I have to do the bare bones to get clients in. But yet, there's a lot of backdoor stuff that needs to happen. There's a lot of tricks of the trade, we can say. And typically, mentorship is going to alleviate some of the pains of becoming an entrepreneur, small business owner initially, because they're going to be helping you see all your blind spots. How has the power of mentorship helped influence your career?
Oh, it's been extremely helpful. Last year, after I became licensed, I then got a coach for my business. I took my business from 0 to 250K gross last year. This year, we have a goal of getting to 1 million. And I can't express enough the importance of having a coach. Now, I have a coach for my business. I also have a group of entrepreneurs that I'm a part of that very high level people. And what I realized is that I had to level up my inner circle. And that's part of getting a mentor. What do they say? You are going to be the sixth person that you hang out with. So that's what I had to do. And it was really lonely. There was a lonely time where I literally had no friends and it sucked. But that's what forced me into getting new friends and now just accelerating in life.
You are not alone in that effort, especially for men. Men struggle with this aspect to find brotherhood, friends, entrepreneurs of high levels that they can speak with quite frequently. This is not uncommon. What did you do to begin to get out of that place in your life where you didn't have the friends necessary, the connections necessary, the mentors necessary? Was it just going on Google, finding the answer, or was it speaking with someone and getting a contact and then inquiring about services?
At first, it was my father. My father became sober when I was about 8 years old. So at first, it was my father talking to my father and getting me through that transition period. Then it was social media. And I found a few people that I liked, I followed, and I started to converse with them and kind of went down that path. And by doing that, it made me realize that, there's people out there that I want to emulate. And it was hard to find people in my local area that I want to emulate. It's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. And I know a lot of people that are making the wrong choices for the wrong reasons. I ended up joining Accelerator's organization. And since then, it just opened doors to unimaginable growth. Actually, last year, I got awarded the Mindset Shift Award for that organization.
Yeah, no, that's a great place to be around people who want to grow. And the podcast that we have here, Coaching in Session, is all about self improvement, self help, personal professional development, coaching to help people get out of their situation. And when you speak with someone who has gone through it, you can learn so much. And it gives individuals, it gives the audience members hope. Especially, we all know somebody. We know someone who might be going through it. I know countless veterans, and I speak with them. And when I speak with them, it's the simplest conversations, it seems like, but to them, they're the most meaningful conversations because they don't necessarily have anyone to speak with. They might be married And that's the only person that they can speak with. They have kids. They can't really speak to their kids about their issues because they're an adult, and adult have adult issues and kids have kids issues. Who do we speak with? And that's why finding like-minded or growth-minded individuals, because you don't want to necessarily be with like-minded individuals, like as you were saying, everyone in your small town, everyone has the same like mindset, but there's not much growth going on. And all across America, there are these small pockets where everyone knows everyone, as we were talking about. But when you're in those small towns, a lot of people, they feel like the walls are caving in on them. They feel like they don't have much chance. There's not much opportunity. They have a scarcity mindset. They don't see the opportunity. How did you see the opportunity? Was it just speaking with your father, speaking with these entrepreneurs, or did you have a fire and desire inside of you that you wanted to show the world?
What I did is I took what I'm good at, which is for me is driving trucks and operating equipment. And I capitalized on top of that. I'm good at it, so that's what I'm going to go for. So I became licensed. And the thing is, though, it's hard. It's super hard coming into an industry in a small town where there's already other companies that are doing what I can do, but on a much larger scale is definitely an eye opener. And it probably is a little bit of, yeah, I want to show people that I can do that, that I can be here, that I deserve to be here. Kelco deserves to grow here because there's a lot of people that have their doubts. And that's what part of me changing is facing all that doubt and facing doubt in myself because I know it can happen and it's already there. I just need to figure out how to grab it.
And you're not alone. As I said, doubt is going to be there for everyone, right? And a lot of people, they have a hard time differentiating between what makes them different. What makes them different from the company that's right next door to me? Because you can have a company that's literally right next door to another construction company. And guess what? You can be making a killing. What makes you different? And this is where we start to differentiate between mindsets, because something that we can look at is any career, right? Let's use journalism, for example. We have our mainstream journalists, right? It could be ABC, MSN, CNN, Fox News. We have journalists there that are the anchors. Then you have independent anchors or independent journalists that will go out, they'll do stories, they have maybe a YouTube following, maybe a Twitch following, whatever. They have some type of following and they're able to go out and do the work. Yet there's going to be restrictions in what is appropriate. For example, Tucker Carlson, right? We all know him. Some people hate him, some people love him, but he has that passion, that desire to separate himself from other journalists. He can be in the same room as all these other networks, and yet he would shine the brightest. Why? Because he has decided to love what he has done. He is good at it, he's great at it, but he also decided to do what he loved. And that separates people. Most people just do things out of convenience. But if you do it out of love, that separates you. And a lot of people, it's the simplest thing, but yet they overlook it. We love what we do, we're good at it. We typically love what we're good at because in our brain, if I'm good at it, I excel at it, it makes me feel good. But we do have to get over that doubt. We have to get over that, what's it called? Napoleon complex or something, where we feel inferior or something along those lines. How do you separate yourself from other businesses?
Well, one big separation is we are a service connected, disabled veteran owned small business. So that sets us apart. And what I'm trying to do is change the culture in the construction industry. That's part of my mission is to create an awesome culture for my employees, my customers, and my partners. And before this, it's been a pretty harsh environment for construction workers. And what I'm trying to do is change that. There's a lot of people coming up into this industry that want to be taken care of, and I want to take care of them, and I want to take care of the people that I work with. So that's part of our mission.
Yeah, and the aspect of wanting to take care of someone, especially as a boss, CEO, owner of the company, it's something that we spearhead most of the time, right? It feels very lonely because it's like, okay, if I don't do it, who will? And most people are not going to walk in our shoes and then at the end of the race and we get to the goal, they're going to give us the pair of shoes and say, here, good luck. We don't have the experience. We don't have the knowledge that they gained. We can get the results, but those results necessarily are just going to fade because we haven't done the work. And when you do the work, you learn what's missing in a career and a profession. As you said, culture. And culture is big. And our culture today is damaged, to say the least, where we have veterans who are struggling, where there's no support or very little support for them. There are people who cannot find friendships, create brotherhoods or sisterhoods. This is all a trend that is all too common. And what you do is you are beginning to tell the world who you are, to show them what resilience can create and how you can attain better in your life. It just takes a bit of courage, to say the least, to get out of that comfort and to begin to change your circumstance. And the conversation that we had is just that, to help people begin to change their circumstance regardless of their situation. You can be in a very low place right now, but it doesn't mean you have to stay there. And as we begin to wrap up, I would love for you to share any final words with us and then to tell the audience where they can find you.
Yeah, I'd like to share that. I mean, I was in the trenches for a long time. I like to call it the deep, dark trenches. I thought when I was at that point in my life, I could not see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I thought that this was my life and I wasn't going to be able to change it. It's just how it's going to be. And I'm just going to have to deal with it. It took me a long time to be able to look at myself in the mirror and be able to see somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel. But I want to share that it is there. I just had to make up my mind that I needed to change. And by doing that, the light started to come. That's what I'd like to share. You could find me at digkelco.com or Kelco Construction on Instagram and Facebook. I post a lot of my growth journey on those pages. It's part of my personal brand and what I'm trying to build.
Perfect. And I'll make it easy for everyone. All of the links are going to be in the description box below. And I encourage everyone to check out Kelly's social medias, website, because this is what growth is. This is what a growth mindset looks like. It's someone who doesn't care about their, I guess you could say, their past solely, and they become victims to it. They decide to elevate themselves from their past situations. And if you are going through it right now, if you're struggling, if you are having a hard time finding people to help elevate you, look at people's success stories, such as Kelly's here today, and use that as a, I guess you can say, a booster or momentum pack that's going to help propel you into better aspects of your life, better aspects of changing behaviors and creating the habits necessary for prosperity in your life. All right, everyone, I'd like to thank you so much for watching that interview with Kelly Killingsworth. What went on in that interview is we talked to a man who has had a life of interesting values, to say the least. He was going into the military. This right here is a whole mindset. This is a lifestyle. I have found, because I do have quite a bit of friends that were in the military, their mindset is very different than just a regular civilian on the streets. Very different, but not bad different. It's just a different place. What I do with my clients and individuals when I meet with them is we create flowcharts for their life, because we can do what therapists kind of do, but I don't necessarily think they do it by like flowcharts. They might have a system in their mindset or in their systems that they do, but everything we do has an alternative choice that comes behind it, a flowchart, right? So if we think about, do you want to go to the movies? Yes or no? That's a flowchart, right? If we say yes, now we have to say, what movie do we want to watch? We want to watch action, horror, thriller, whatever. Now we pick that movie, right? Then we have to maybe have, after we pick our movie, what type of person do we want to bring to the movie? Do we want to bring a person? Yes or no, right? It's another flowchart. Now, it might be yes. Do we buy popcorn or candy at the movie theater, or do we smuggle some in? That's also a flow chart. And we're going down. It doesn't have to be only about going to the movies. It could be about our whole entire life. It can be, all right, I just got off work. What do? Do I sit on the sofa, or do I start a business? Do I start getting mentors and leaders that are going to help me change? Am I going to go to the gym, or am I going to go get a cheeseburger? Am I going to pick up a beverage that's alcoholic, or am I going to get some water because I feel thirsty and I'm trying to quench my thirst? There are so many aspects to why we do the things we do. Sometimes people do negative things because it can be an escape. However, just because we do these negative things, it doesn't make you a negative or bad person. I don't want individuals to think that if they have a bear, they're a bad person. If they have done drugs in their life, they're a bad person. If they have gone through some type of hardship, they're a bad person. You're not a bad person. There are going to be moments in your life where you might have unfavorable things that, in hindsight, you say, that wasn't the best for me. Sometimes it can be alcohol. Sometimes it can be drugs. They learn that those things were stopping them from their true growth and their true potential. What Kelly has went through was that he felt the moments where he wanted to flourish. He felt the moments where he wanted to spring forward and change his life and change his circumstance. But the things he was doing wasn't helping him. The habits he created at the time didn't help either. So he said, I have to change. I have to change who I am. And this is where the mindset of resilience comes in. Because you can want change, you can dream of change, you can even plan for change, but it doesn't mean you're going to change. It's not until one of the aspects we talked about today, getting a mentor, getting someone who's going to help us along the way, comes into play. And now we're like, oh, wait, I can have an individual come in and assist me along my journey to betterment and fulfillment. Because at the end of life, most people, they don't want to have regrets. They want happiness, generally. But life is not all about the happy moments. We have to do the hard stuff too. We have to go through it. We have to create those businesses if we want to. We don't have to. It just depends on the individual. We have to go through the long nights, the days, the sense of no security in a paycheck. This is something that people cannot get over because they're so stuck in comfort. And Kelly even talked about the aspect of getting out of your comfort, getting out of what you know is so good, or maybe it's the best at the moment. We talked about the small town aspect. That creates comfort. Talked about it on the podcast. I forget which episode. It's a life hack to leave your hometown. Do not stay where you are. Leave. It automatically is going to put you in a mindset of survival. It puts you in a mindset of growing, of prospering, of changing. We change our situation. We change our environment. We change our outcome. Think of a plant, right? And a plant, they have like small planter pots, it could be like 1 inch in diameter, and you could put a seed in there, right? And let's say the seed is a cucumber seed. Cucumbers grow crazy, but they need a lot of nutrients. And there's not enough nutrients in that 1 inch diameter pot that the seed was put in. It's great for the seed to grow, but then you have to replant it at some point. You cannot keep the cucumber in the pot. In a sense, we cannot keep our mindset locked up in our hometown. Sometimes our hometown is going to be that pot for us, where it stops us from challenging the status quo. It stops us from challenging what our circumstance is right now. It stops us from reaching our true potential to who we should truly become. This is something we have to understand. We have to become resilient, but then we also have to understand when an environment is no longer helping us flourish. So whether you are a person who is trying to flourish in their life, if you are a person who is trying to figure out how you can make moves and try to make advances in your life, inquire about people who have gone through the struggles. Learn more about their stories because that gives hope. And hope might not be the thing that's going to drive action, but it is going to plant a seed in the mindset that's going to start to help individuals begin to take more action. Because the things that were seemingly impossible in our mindset can be proven wrong. And if you can prove yourself wrong, or your mindset wrong, or your subconscious wrong, then you are going to say, well, if it is possible, why am I not doing it? And most people, they can do those hard things in life. Most people, they can turn those limiting beliefs that they have around. They can turn their negative situations into better situations. They can change their life. And what we do here at Reven Concepts is we help individuals grow and prosper so they can begin to make changes in their circumstances. It might not be an easy path initially, but the end goal, the end result is going to be you in a better situation, because we all have blind spots and we just need a mentor, a coach, someone who's going to be shining a light on what is going on in our life and giving some wisdom, giving some guidance, and then giving some certainty that we can make it out on the other end as a winner. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, email me coachinginsession@gmail.com. Check out the work that Kelly is doing. See how his growth and his potential is going to continue to flourish. That can be you. Again, the links are going to be in the description box below. Change your future, change your life, and then begin to make big moves that are going to create a ripple effect for your entire life. Until the next episode of Coaching in Session, everyone take care.